Welcome to the next episode of Got This on the Coffee Break. Today's episode is a continuation of our adventures into major arcana that started with the star card. The card that came as the next one for this episode has a symbology that is so similar yet so different from the star card that I thought it would be fun to compare them both and kind of juxtaposition some of the symbols so beautifully depicted in both of these cards. Temperance, that is numbered 14, is a very different energy from the star, but what I found fascinating was the fact that they are both depicted with vessels that are pouring some sort of essence of life in and out. Now, the difference with the star card is that she holds one arm up into the sky where she is receiving a sacred soma straight from the source, and then the other arm is pointing down. So the information is being transformed and delivered and released into the earth, into the lower dimensions. The temperance also holds two chalices or vessels, but they are aimed at each other. They are facing each other. The chalices are exchanging the life juices between each other. Sometimes the card would have a depiction of two vessels pouring their sacred waters into a cauldron. Either way, the exchange happens within this closed circuit. And so the difference between the star card and the temperance is that the sacredness of the metamorphosis on our hero's journey happens through different means. The star recognizes herself through her service. The temperance recognizes herself through her metamorphosis. The temperance is a card of change that happens internally and within our deepest aspects of our psychology on the cellular level in our DNA. You see, what happens with temperance is that she is creating a new reality, a new soma, a new elixir of life. She is taking a fire and water and creates a new expression, something that has not been there before. She makes the impossible possible. The star has received from the universe the inspiration. All she needed to do is to recognize the beauty within herself, and she had to recognize the gifts and talents so readily available to her and so eagerly anticipated by everybody else. The transformation with temperance is a transformation of mind, body, and spirit that happens when there is absolute necessity to transform. And so that happens when we are facing the dark night of the soul, when we need to alchemize the deep wounds, the great fears, the past, and to turn it into something brighter and better and lighter and happier, not the same as it used to be. It has to be 100% different and anew. But just like in any alchemical processes, the great alchemist, the temperance, needs to use a dark material for transformation. So lead has to be transformed into gold, anger into forgiveness, fear into courage, sadness into hope. And it's going to take everything out of her to make this happen. Sometimes the cards depict a butterfly or a rainbow. That is because those are both symbols of hope and change and transformation. Sometimes there are winged creatures, maybe angel. And so the wings indicate not so much a need for spiritual enlightenment, but it is rather a sign of divine change taking place, of something absolutely sacred and powerful happening. Because when you become a butterfly, when you transform the dark material of your soul, when you fill it with the light, the liquid gold of the transmutation, that is a blessed state. So the wings don't indicate as much a spirituality, but the highest divine protection in the process of alchemization of the dark parts of the soul that need to be accepted and reintroduced so they can also be healed and transformed. The Temperance is not an easy card because it tells us so much about our state of consciousness. It says that the time to change the mind and the mindset is now. Certain aspects of the self cannot remain the same. Maybe you've been in a process of transformation for so long you forgot how to be the caterpillar or butterfly. It's time to push forward, but just like with any birth, this is going to be painful. So the process of alchemizing is not an easy, painless process. It's definitely quite tasking. It requires great amount of focus and dedication. And artistry as well. In Crowley's tarot deck, the Thoth tarot deck, the Temperance is named the art. That because when we are transforming, we are creating. We're creating ourselves anew, our reality. We add new colors, more space. Sometimes we declutter, remove old things, forgive ourselves, forgive others. It's a big process. It usually takes time. Whatever juices are bubbling in the cauldron, it's going to be something good, but it's going to take time. You see, just like a shaman that puts together different ingredients in order to create sacred magical brew that expands consciousness and heals and guides. It's a sacred process to guide those who are on the path of enlightenment. And it's a sacred process to transform yourself into a new quality, into a new human being. So that sacredness requires attention to details, focus, dedication, and devotion. And most of all, it requires that we are not bothered by external influences, the naysayers, those who want us to stay the same and never change. So the Temperance is faced with constant pull from duality of this is good or this is bad, this is black or this is white. This is what Temperance is really mastering in her cauldron of life. She is dealing with the black and white version of the existence, and then she is calmly staying centered, not pulled by any one of these versions. The duality of conscious and subconscious mind is also something she has to deal with in here. In some cards, you would see that Temperance has one foot still in the water and the other foot already on the earth, on the ground. which means she is dealing with the subconsciousness, the waters of our dream world, our fear world, of the things that we keep in shadows. And then we take them to the front row and we let everyone know that we overcome our own fears and shortcomings and darkness. And we are ready to step into our spiritual shoes because we are transformed and healed and changed. But that duality always exists, because just as soon as you're all good and perfect, something is going to throw you out of your regular moment of Zen, and right there, you might find yourself back where you were. Yeah, maybe a little bit more enlightened, but still applying the tools that you've learned during the process of transformation are going to be required in order to maintain as much of balance as possible. So if you're called to work with the Temperance card, it might be because you yourself are facing a dark night of the soul and you need the blessings, the courage, and the vision for who you're becoming, and you need that encouragement during the process. Perhaps you're creating a great piece of art and you cannot get through a stage, or something is blocking your flow. What needs to be alchemized? What has not been expressed? Where are you hiding from what you truly want from yourself as an artist? Have you been too reliant on the outcome and forgot the love of creating? What needs sacrifice in your life in order to bring new altars and create new great things in your life? What is the lead that needs to be turned into dust, taken apart piece by piece? You have to allow it to disintegrate, right, before you can recreate as something new. So what's in your life that is holding you back, that you have to take a big hammer and just smash through it? You know what it is. You might be called to work with temperance because you are on a shamanic path and you are changing the way you perceive reality. Maybe you're working with your spirit guides or animal spirits. The temperance is a wonderful guide into the underworld where she can help us find the missing parts of our soul. She can help us get to the bottom of the cauldron, so to speak, so we can really pick on those hidden gems of our wounded psyche that after being healed will shine like the most beautiful golden nuggets ever. Sometimes the challenge of transforming our reality into, well, just something better is hidden in specific fears. In tarot cards, temperance is numbered 14. That's 1, 4, which equals to 5, which is another expression of this card. It's an expression of the card in her minor arcana, represented by all the 5s, and the Hierophant, which is her secret guide. The 5s in tarot are challenging cards that represent opportunity to remove certain type of obstacles, but they are there to reveal the hidden issues. They almost have that Mercury retrograde energy about them, where you have to go back and fix something that you have omitted or didn't see coming, or you did not want to take care before. The 5s represent a certain types of fears, and so since Temperance is working with so much internal dialogue, on occasion she becomes afraid of defeat. What if it doesn't work? What if the ingredients is incorrect? What if what comes out isn't going to be the right potion? So she becomes doubtful. She's worried that she's going to become defeated, that the circumstances of her life will overcome her. And then she might be threatened by disappointment. That would be the energy of the Five of Cups. Because the disappointment really comes from heart's unfulfilled desires. So if she lets the doubt step in and the fear of disappointments takes over her actions, then she will also experience anxiety and strife, typical for the energy of Five of Wands. And then, above all, she's just going to constantly worry about her unfinished business, unfulfilled dreams, lack of vision. So the 4 fives are saying to our Temperance, you have to temper that iron before it becomes a sword. If the process of turning the heated iron into beautiful Damascus sword requires a process of alchemization. So our states of darkness are remedied by a beautiful wisdom of Hierophant. The Hierophant, which is marked with number 5, comes to assist the Temperance, because the Temperance is learning to adjust to her new reality. She might get worried, she might even feel a little bit anxious, but in moment of doubt, she must recognize that she has this amazing inner knowing, this wonderful deep guidance within herself. And that is exactly the energy of the Hierophant in this context. For her, the Hierophant is like the wise mentor from beyond the veils, maybe deceased grandfather or archangel. Sometimes for the Temperance, this amazing, generous guide becomes in physical form, where he is an actual mentor or a coach, her teacher, someone she can definitely trust, someone who is obviously a wise and balanced teacher, someone with wisdom of sages that comes with ages. The Temperance seems to be pretty self-sustainable. She kind of knows what her dreams are. She knows how much time it's going to take. She knows she's got to ground her work in the earthly realm, but that she also needs that intuitive guidance from beyond. She understands duality. She knows that there is a pull and push between the good and the bad, one point of view or the other. And most of all, she knows that outside all of this, there is a third way. She's self-sustainable because she can find an outcome that hasn't been thought of or that hasn't been available before, and then use the newly found door to exit the annoyance, over-consuming narrative of duality. As she conjures her desire with passion and vision, she rethinks her beliefs about what is possible. That really is the alchemy that happens with the Temperance. The Temperance, yes, dives deep into the subconscious, brings the dark stuff and alchemizes it. But to be just slightly more scientific in here, what takes place is a change in our brains. Because when we overcome our own fears and obstacles, we start to believe that we can overcome anything. And that fires up these new neurons, these new ways of thinking. We are becoming more aware of new possibilities. And just like that, a synchronicity happens. And then another one. And then before we know it, we really are in a new place at the new level of understanding of what the life really is all about. Looking at the image and wondering what is going on might be just a fun way to get in touch with this card. What would you do if you were temperance? What would you put into the mix? What spices of life are you missing that you'd like to add to your magical cauldron? What in your life needs blessings right now? What projects or ideas need total transformation? What needs to be synthesized? What needs integration? Where do you seek balance? And most of all, what is the third way? If you're in a deep, dark place, if you are transmuting the darkest aspects of your soul, as someone who has gone through a really dark night of the soul, fully embrace you in my prayers and my hugs if you are experiencing the dark night of the soul. And I want you to know you will get through this. And what worked for me might not work for you, but I will share just in case you need this. And this is also great not just for those of us who are going through immense pressure of being turned from coal to diamonds, but also for those of us who need lightness in our daily life. The pressure seems to be stronger than ever in any direction we look. So the first thing that worked for me beautifully was meditation. And I know it sounds like an old tape, but it changed my life, and it was not even close to really good meditation. The first time I did it, I had a screaming dialogue in my head, and then it came. It was like 2 minutes of like total quietness, deep relaxation, and I felt alive for the first time in a long time. So that worked for me. That was my first breath of fresh air, and it wasn't even so much about the fact that I had this breakthrough, but because I gave myself 22 minutes. Something as a busy mom and wife and professional, I didn't allow myself to have for so long that I died spiritually. I was an empty corpse walking around, making breakfast. Was the breaking point. And then with that came search for more and better ways of serving myself that led to changes. Another way that you can really greatly benefit from is Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is Hawaiian traditional prayer that, in a loose translation from this beautiful enigmatic language, means I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's something you do to remove obstacles from your life. It has an amazing way of clearing atmosphere, spaces, places, people, even weather. But mostly, it changes your own attitude toward yourself. When you say, I'm sorry, you're saying that to yourself because for some reason you needed that experience in your life to remind you of your value. It's not your fault that it happened, but it came to you and you were experiencing it. So you're going to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I experienced this. I'm sorry I'm nervous. I'm sorry I am stressed out. I'm sorry I am. It is what it is. Please forgive me. Forgive me for inviting into my life this situation, this nervous tension. So when you ask for forgiveness, you ask yourself for not being strong enough to be everything to everyone all the time. Because actually, it's not your job to be there for everyone in such capacity that you lose yourself. You forgive yourself for not sleeping enough or not drinking enough water or overdoing on shopping. Your body, your mind, and your spirit is overcompensating. So don't beat yourself up for it. Say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Today was not my strongest day. Please forgive me. I'm tired. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me. There are a million ways, million reasons to say thank you for. And mainly you say thank you for experiences of your life, for giving you opportunity to clear from your space these obstacles. And lastly, say I love you. Well, you say to yourself, and I know that is hard. That is hard to say. I love myself a lot. But say it and try your best. Because temperance is all about alchemizing and transforming. A lot of this transformation can happen on paper, which is one of my favorite ways of working with subconscious mind. So I'm also going to include a ritual in my Substack episode. With that, I want to say that I'm happy to be here and I'm happy you are here with me. Feel free to check the description below, and as soon as I figure out, and I will try to add all of my important info down there while I'm still learning how to run all of this business of podcasting. The star says, shine your brightest. The temperance says, allow the change to occur. And you're going to love the next arcana I'm going to be talking about next week. Until then, adios, many blessings, namaste.